uh, going back to my first 2-day seminar with you. And I sat up in front and took notes for 2 solid days, and you talked about business success. And I had learned already that there are principles of business success that if you learn them, you can repeat them. Let me tell you a quick story. I really enjoyed it. I started studying business many, many years ago, and I read, if you see behind me, you see books. I have about 6,000 books. In my 30s, I went back to the University of Alberta and got an MBA degree. I spent 4,000 hours taking evenings and weekends and summers because I was so hungry to learn how to be a business success. Because I had read that more than 80%, and now the number is 87%, recent statistics, of people who are wealthy today started a business or went to work with a business when it was just getting started. I just saw a special on Bill Gates. Bill Gates is once again the richest man in the world because Jeff Bezos, the head of Amazon, who was number one, went through a divorce and gave his wife $36 billion. So he's $1 billion just below Bill Gates. And Bill Gates was doing done a series of talks, and he talks about the importance of learning, the importance of reading, the importance of success. And so I learned a lot from Bill Gates. And there was something I was trying to think of saying, but it came from Mark Twain. It said there are 2 times in your life, 2 most important days in your life. Number 1 is when you're born, and number 2 is when you find out why and how. And the reason I mentioned Bill Gates, I got off track, is Richard Branson. Now, Richard Branson is a very famous billionaire. He does all kinds of things. He flies hot air balloons and so on. He's worth about $8 or $9 billion. And he started off with nothing as a teenager, dyslexic, at the age of 16, printing a newsletter reviewing hit songs like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. And he sold the newsletter for 10 cents a piece and so on. That was his first business. Anyway, he has 82 businesses today. And he was asked a year ago, how is it that you have 82 successful businesses and most people don't have even one? And if they have a business, it's 80% of them are struggling. Right. He said, well, I found out early that there are certain principles for success in life and in business. And once you learn them, you can then repeat them over and over and you'll get the same results. So once I had success in one business, I identified the principles that were there. You find a good product, you find a good customer market, you price it well, you position it well against your competition, you market and sell it aggressively and so on. He said, once I found out that, then I could do it over and over again. Now he has 82 businesses. One of the things that we will teach in our time together is here are the basic principles that every single successful entrepreneur uses to increase their sales and profitability. 87% of wealthy people today use the principles that we'll talk about today. The other 13% are doctors, lawyers, architects, engineers, rock singers, and so on. But all the money is made, and the billionaires as well, it's all made using these same simple principles that we'll discuss. We call them $1 million habits. It's the habits that millionaires practice. And I remember reading my first books on millionaires and finding there were certain consistent principles that they all practice, and we will teach them in our time together.
Yes. And so I am bringing you, for all of Americans, to Los Angeles, and for all Canadians to Toronto, and for people around the world, they can choose whichever is closer, Toronto or Los Angeles, and you can be in a room with me, but also with this wise master, this Jedi master who preceded me on stage and whom I learned from when I was just a little boy, a boy speaker, and he was already world famous. It's April 4 and 5 in Los Angeles, 2020,
right?
And May 1, 2, 3 in Toronto in 2020. And there's 2 levels of tickets. Let me just explain. There's general admission, where you come and enjoy all the days and learn like crazy, network. And then there's the VIP, which I strongly recommend because they always sell out first and we can only have a limited number of them. At VIP level, you get a special registration desk so you don't have to wait. You get a special name tag so people can see that you're special. You're first admitted to the room so you can sit where you want. There's VIP sitting right near the front so you get the immediacy of being really close to Brian and myself and the other speakers. But on top of that, you get an individual photograph with Brian Tracy. I don't mean a group photo. I mean you and Brian Tracy, and then the next person and Brian Tracy. But you get your own picture with Brian Tracy and lunch every day. It's an amazing deal. Click on the link and you will be able to choose either Los Angeles or Toronto, and then you'll choose either VIP or general admission, whatever your pocketbook can handle, and be there and come up and hug me and just be grateful and be happy. Because as Brian says, there's no other way to learn but being in a room with a master who has proven his worth over decades, that his words work, his learning works, his teaching works, his lessons work, his books sell because they work. And I am so overjoyed that I am finally, after all these years, correcting a mistake that I brought so many other experts to my stage and not Brian Tracy, my old buddy.
That's very flattering. That's very flattering, Raymond. Thank you. Because I think of you at the same level. I've learned so much from you over the years.